Okay. Now, our focus today, students, would be on multiple choice questions. Okay. Now, multiple choice question is the first part of paper 1. All right. Um, what's with multiple choice question? What is so great about it? After all, it is just a small text. Okay. It is just a small text with 3 options. So all we are going to do is to read the text, and we are going to answer the question. Options are given, so it should be very easy. It should be pretty easy. Okay, that's what we could generally think, or that is what we would generally think. Now, let's see what's with MCQ, or multiple choice questions. There are 3 major elements to discuss. The first one would be the materials or the source. The second one would be the challenges. What are the challenges that we have to face in answering multiple choice questions? And then the tips. What are the tips? How can we handle multiple choice questions? Now, the first thing first, materials. The materials are authentic generally. The text type would be short news, advertisement, announcements, short letter, appeal, job vacancy, short information, book review, short report, message, customer notice, quotes, meaningful phrases. Okay, this is very similar to SVM, but the length it would be shorter, and the nature of the material used would be simpler. Okay, the options for answers, there will be A, B, C, no D. So A, B, and C, 3 options. Okay, and now for this particular part, we have the inclusion of HOTS element, higher order thinking skills element. Okay, so what could possibly happen? We will look at it when we do the practice. What could possibly happen is there will be the options may be similar. So, and sometimes all the options could be correct. So the trick is, or the clue is, you have to choose the most appropriate answer. Okay, now the second part, challenges. Okay, when we talk about challenges, we have HOTS element. Yeah, that's a great challenge, whereby all the options may seem similar. And then the second thing is we have vocabulary. You might not understand some words because some materials, the materials are generally authentic. So the materials are not particularly crafted in any way to placate your proficiency level. Okay, and the third one would be the language usage. Okay, the language usage, again, the same thing as I mentioned above, vocabulary. So it might not be exactly the way you expect it to be. Okay, now next, holistic comprehension. There are 2 different things: holistic comprehension and contextual understanding. All right. Okay, now when we talk about this holistic comprehension, the whole text, the whole material that is given, you need to have a complete understanding of what is in the text, number 1. Number 2, contextual understanding. This is to understand what the particular word or phrase or idea means in a given context. Okay, I would have given you examples. For example, the word we did discuss, I think in your class or the other class, I can't remember. We did discuss the word when people are generally called Homo sapiens. That's a scientific term for human being. But when you refer to a crowd that is gathered around an accident scene, you don't call them a group of Homo sapiens have gathered. You'll probably say onlookers or bystanders. Okay, so contextually, you need to understand there's the particular text or material. We will look at the examples, and you would understand this better. All right. Now, the third one is the tips. Now, there are many different ideas as to how one could approach multiple choice questions. In my point of view, I would always believe in this. I would always encourage students to read the questions first. Read the questions and read the options first. The reason is, before going into the text, if you were to read the questions first, you would know the purpose of reading the text. And the scope is narrowed. The expectation is built. What could you expect to know? Or what are you expected to dig from the particular text? What are you expected to answer? Or what are you expected to find from the particular text? So read the questions first, and then you move on to read the options. After that, read the text. So when you have read the question and you have also read the options, you have the questions and the options in your mind. Therefore, it would ease your reading and understanding of the text. After that, choose the most appropriate answer. Okay. Until now, as of yet, do you have any questions?
Nothing, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir.
Excellent. Very good.
Nothing,
If
sir.
you have any questions, when we...
No, sir.
No, sir.
Thank you very much. When we do the practice, then we would understand a lot more. All right? Okay. Now, practice. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. All right. Now let's look at the first one. As I told you, we read the question first, and then the options, and then we read the text. Now, from the short letter, we can conclude that Dad is A, upset, B, excited, C, apologetic. Now, let's read the text. Dear Ari, I'm sorry for canceling our plan to go fishing this weekend. I hope you are not upset. I promise we will do it next week. Dad. Now, look at the options. From the short text, we can conclude that Dad is upset, excited, apologetic. What do you think is the answer?
Upset. A.
Upset.
C, sir.
A.
C,
C.
Apologetic.
C, sir.
Okay.
A.
Now you see. Now you
C,
see. Very good. Very good. I'm very glad that you are participating well. Now you see, excited is definitely out. Correct.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The dispute. Yes, the dispute is between A and C. The dispute is between upset and apologetic. Now here in the text, who do you think is upset, or who might get upset?
Dad.
Eddie or Dad?
Harry.
Eddie might get upset.
Daddy.
I hope you are not upset. I hope you are not upset. So Daddy is referring to
Upset.
Harry. I am sorry. Daddy is feeling sorry. Therefore, when Dad says sorry, he is apologetic. So the most appropriate answer, the correct answer is C. All right. Let's move on. We have a lot of questions to see. Now, this question. Students need to be... Okay, no, sorry. This was my mistake. We need to read the question first, right? From the extract above, why should the students need to be made fully aware of the adverse effects of rising pollution in order to control it? Look at the question again. This is not a simple question. You need to understand the question. From the extract above, why should the students need to be made fully aware of the adverse effects of rising pollutions in order to control it? Option A, they can create awareness. Option B, they can play a strong part. Option C, they can fight it out together. All three answers are correct. Okay, now let's look at the text. and let's look for the clue. Why should the students need to be made fully aware of the adverse effects? You see, all these questions you cannot find anywhere because I wrote all these questions. So all these questions were made by me. So when I make a question, I would have something in my mind as a clue and also as a trap. So this is where the HOTS element kicks in. Now, students need to be made fully aware of the adverse effects of rising pollution. Also, being the future generation, they can play a vital role in controlling pollution if they are familiar with this threat to the survival of mankind. Now, A, B, C.
B.
Excellent.
B.
B is the correct
B.
answer.
B.
They can play a strong part. But why do you say B? What is the
They
clue?
can say that's a clue.
What is the clue?
Vital.
They can
Very
play,
good. They can play a vital role.
Yes.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Very smart. Okay, now, question number 3. From the extract above, who could be blamed for the illegal act of child labor? A, society. B, parents. C, entrepreneurs. Okay.
So
Now,
what?
wait. We'll come back to that. Wait. I know you're asking me what is entrepreneurs?
Yes.
Is that what? All right. Okay. Now, look at the question first. Now, we are going to blame someone. Child labor is going on. It is an illegal activity and someone has to be blamed. Now, there are 3 parties: society, parents, entrepreneurs. For that, we need to know what does these words mean. We do now, assuming that we do not know what is entrepreneurs. Let's look at the text. Child labor is an illegal act performed by the children in their little age by the involvement of some industrialists and businessmen all over the world. Industrialists and businessmen generally choose child labor because of the efficient work in minimum time at low cost. Now, we know in the question someone has to be blamed for the illegal act of child labor. Does the text talk about society?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
No. Okay, very good. Does the text talk about parents?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So entrepreneurs could most probably mean
Yes, sir.
what could it exactly businessmen. Entrepreneurs are businessmen. So the answer is
C.
C.
okay. Why am I delving through the depths of the question and analyzing the detail is because I want you to understand how the questions are made and how you as students could handle the question. Are you getting something out of this?
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
understand? All right, very good, very good. If you understand, I'm happy. That's all I need. Now, look at this question. This is something very similar to the previous question. From the extract above, it can be understood that sports and games activities are organized as a way to entertainment for the players, referees, audience. Okay. Now, sports and games activities are meant to entertain whom? That is the question. Now, let's look at the text. Sports and games are involved. Okay, let me remind you, students, when I'm talking, kindly mute yourselves. Only when I ask you questions should you answer. Okay, because you're murmuring and it's audible. Now, sports and games are involved with brisk physical activities, including various physical and tactical challenges. Sports and games activities are organized time to time in all the countries at national and international level as a competition for participants and way to entertainment for spectators. Now, A, B, C. What do you think is the answer?
C.
C.
Why is it C?
C.
Why C?
Spectac. Spectator means audience.
Very good. Spectators means audience.
Audience.
Very good. Now you get it. Now look at this very simple question. This is one of the simplest questions. The advertisement above would most likely attract music lovers, cinema lovers, concert lovers. You are cordially
Music
invited.
lovers.
Music lovers.
Music lovers. Very
A.
good. Very
Answer
good.
A.
Okay, now let's look at this one. The web above would be useful for lawyers, teachers, programmers. Security, we clean and protect your websites. Very good.
Answer C.
Pandai. If we are going on this rate, I'm sure you'll be able to get all correct. Let's go. Now, I'm not going to read the question. You're going to read the question. Okay, I'll read the question and you're going to tell me the answer. From the cartoon strip above, we can know that the officer has a good sense of humor, respect, curiosity.
Curiosity.
Okay. What is curiosity?
Curiosity.
What is curiosity?
Humor.
Curiosity is the feeling that I would want to know why. What is this happening? But here, look at the officer. Yes, let me explain. The guy says, "Officer, there's a man following me." So the officer says on Twitter, Jaiku or Pounds. So he's trying to be funny. So he has a good sense of humor. Yes. So the answer is A. Now this is Kebat. Okay, now let's look at this one. This is also Kebat. From this cartoon strip, what does it reflect on the boy's view of studies? A, studying is only to excel in examination. B, studying is very difficult because of the examinations. C, without studying, one cannot do well in examinations. Now the boy says, will this be on the test? Why do you always ask that? Why don't you ever want to learn just for learning's sake? To which the boy says, will those two questions be on the test? Now, what do you think is the boy's view of studies? We are not talking about, listen, we are not talking about general view on examinations. We are talking about the boy's view of studies.
B.
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 Let me remind you again. The boy's view, what does he think of examination? He says, will this be on the test? Will those two questions be on the test? Which means to him, studying is only to excel in examination. Therefore, the answer is A.
A.
A, sir.
Yes, correct. A. Now let's look at this one. From the comic strip above, what is the idea of declutter to the girl?
Donate.
Okay, we all know declutter is to sort out. Declutter is to arrange. Yeah, we know that declutter is to sort out or declutter is to arrange. But we want to know the idea of declutter to the girl. So for her, it is to donate.
Donate.
Yeah, correct. All right, now this one. I'm not going to read the question. You are going to read the question. You are going to read the options. You are going to read the text. 1 minute. Kindly mute yourselves, and only when you have the answer, you may voice out your answer.
A.
B.
B, sir.
B, sir.
The answer is
B.
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 B. Why B? Why B? Let's look at the question. From the notice above, which of the following places should the visitors go before entering the premise of the building? Notice, all visitors must register at office. This has got nothing to do with recreational area. Now, C, authorized personnel's area. Not everyone can go. Only authorized personnel are allowed to go. Okay? So, the answer is administrative area where it is an office. Now, look at this one. From the notice above, where are the newspapers and periodicals now? A, library, B, boys room, C, common room. Now, let me finish. When I ask you to talk, then you talk. From the notice above, where are the newspapers and periodicals now? What is the catching word, or what is the key word, or what is the clue in this question?
Newspaper.
Okay, well, we are going to look for the place where the newspapers and periodicals are, but what is the clue to identify the answer?
Newspapers and periodicals.
No.
Boys?
No.
Are transferred to
Newspapers
the
periodicals are transferred to the boys' room.
The clue is, listen, the clue
Reading room.
is, listen, the clue is now. Where is it at the current moment? So that is the clue. Now let's look at the notice. The newspapers and periodicals are present time transferred to the boys' room during the beautification of the library and reading room, which means the answer is,
E.
where is it now?
A, library.
Where is it now? Now,
B.
as in the yes,
B.
boys' room. Boys' room. Okay, now for this one, you need to have a good vocabulary, because the options, the options are rather difficult in terms of the vocabulary. From the notice above, we can conclude that all the activities are under A, scrutiny, B, maintenance, C, surveillance. Notice all activities monitored by video camera.
Surveillance.
Surveillance. Very good.
Answer
Surveillance.
A.
Surveillance.
Answer is C. Although A may be very close, but the correct answer is C, surveillance.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now this one also would hinge on vocabulary. From the notice above, the place will not allow intrusion, sensation, violation. Notice, no trespassing.
Violation.
Intrusion.
Very good. Intrusion. Violation is close to correct, but the exact meaning of trespassing is intruding, which is intrusion. So A is the correct answer. Okay, now this one. From the notice above, we can conclude that the road has to be kept clear of public, people, vehicle. Notice, no parking. Keep accessway clear at all times. So vehicle, very good. Vehicle. Okay, now let's look at this one. Look at the picture very carefully. From the poster above, we know that A, pistols are dangerous. Every 25 seconds, a person dies. We must be careful when we handle a vehicle on roads.
B.
Takes one life every 25 seconds.
B.
B.
Okay, I mean, B is not the answer.
A, sir.
Whatever that is shown, wait, listen. Whatever that is shown in the picture is assumed to take one life every 25 seconds. What do you see in the picture?
Pistols are dangerous.
A, sir. A.
You know what? Okay, you know what? That is a car key. That is not a pistol, but that's a car key. Now, what is the answer?
C.
This is why you need to be very particular and very, very careful with the detailing of the material. The answer is C. Okay, very good. Okay, now this one. Not an easy question. What would be your answer?
C. Unseen.
Wait.
B,
From
sir.
the poster above, you see,
C.
mute yourself. Let me read and explain. From the poster above, we could conclude that neglected children are forced to feel. Now, all of you did answer A, did answer B, and some said C. Neglected children are made to feel invisible. Does that mean that they are made to feel unseen? They are made to feel undesirable. They are made to feel unimportant. You see, they are not forced to feel unseen because they exist anyway. So A is not the option. They don't become undesirable because no one hates them. They are just not as important as others, but they are still there. They have not gone to the point of being hated. So the most suitable answer to be invisible here is to be neglected, and neglected means you are made to feel unimportant. So the correct answer is C.
C.
All right. Now, this one. Fire exit. Keep clear. The purpose of this notice is to remind the public not to block the exit door, encourage the public to use the exit door, inform the public where the exit door is.
C, sir.
C.
Answer C.
If you were to see answer C,
A.
then you have overlooked the answer. I mean, the phrase.
A, sir.
Sorry.
Yes, yes. A. It is A. Yes, it is A. Now next. Now this one. Can you answer? Okay, you can't see the options, can you? All right, now, it's a long text. So mute yourselves, take your time and try to answer. Kindly mute yourselves.
I think answer B.
Okay, one person has said B. Any other answers?
C.
B.
C.
C.
B, sir.
Okay, now,
B.
who said, okay, well, because there are many of you, I wouldn't say, I can't ask you in particular, never mind. Now let's look at the question. From the letter above, we know that the writer was upset because she could not afford to buy her son a bicycle. Her neighbor had given her son a faulty gift. Her neighbor had a financial problem. Now let's look at the text. Dear Amy, at my 11-year-old son's birthday party, his best friend and next door neighbor gave him a board game. After the party, we discovered that the game had some missing pieces and did not work. I figured that the money was tight and that his mom probably bought it from a jumble sale. Fine, except the very next day, his friend came over riding a brand new bicycle. Do I mention the defective gift to my neighbor and risk embarrassing her, or let it go? Upset mom. Now, she could not afford to buy her son a bicycle is wrong because the mother never had an intention to buy, the writer didn't have an intention to buy a bicycle. Now, C, her neighbor had a financial problem is also wrong because she was able to produce,
Gift.
yes, she was able to produce buy a bicycle for her son, a brand new bicycle. Therefore, the answer is B. All right. Now, we have done quite a lot of exercises for today. So, I would end this here. And I would want you to take down this one. Every day, I'll be giving you 5 new words. So, all these words are verbs. The first one is to abhor. Abhor means to hate. Abide, to accept or obey. Accost, approach or to speak to. Adjure, to command or to urge. Admonish, to reprimand or to reprove, which means to correct. Now, can you quickly, you can screenshot this or you can write them down very quickly. I'll give you 1 minute.
Already, sir.
Done?
Done.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes,
write
sir.
in which?
Yes?
Done.
Write in.
Write in which book is not something that I can answer. You can write in whichever book that you think you should write. Okay? I'm sure you have I personally believe you need to have a book for yourself for vocabulary, and then you write all these words and their meanings and try to apply them. All right? Okay. Now, do you have any questions? Thank you very much.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
But we've not ended the class. Wait.
No, sir.